Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Believe in Bengal podcast. Solomon Wicots here. Stick around. Coming up, we're going to be joined by CincinnatiBengals.com. Geoff Hobson's going to be joining us here on the show to give us his report on what's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals. But first, how about Bet Online? Of course, it's the world's most trusted betting platform, and it is your number one source for everything when it comes to betting on sports online. And right now, all you can do, you can receive 50% of free bets for up to $250 with your first deposit. All you got to do is just bet on anything from, of course, baseball, Formula One racing, and even the National Football League. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 slot games. All right. And you can use your promo code as well, BLEAV. That's Believe, for your 50% free bet credit and your first deposit of up to $250. Bet Online. The game starts here. I got to tell you what, I'm looking back on the Cincinnati Bengals first preseason game of the year. I got to tell you, the offense looked really good. Joe Burrow looked really good. 15 pounds of muscle, and the guy looked like he hasn't missed a beat. I'm not worried about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to lift this team and carry this team very far. You see that very first drive, he went right down the field and really was very poised. And I saw of the 12-play drive where they went 73 yards, he threw the 10-yard touchdown pass to T. Higgins. 4 of the 12 plays with Joe Burrow under center. Did you see that? Joe Burrow was under center. I loved it. And they did more than just run the ball when he was under center. Even though you got to be able to throw it some, you can't just get under center and run it every single time. That was the play action shot pass that they took down the field to T. Higgins that he nearly caught against double coverage, and the ball came out just as T. Higgins hit the ground. T. Higgins would cash in for the 10-yard touchdown that he would catch at the end of the drive. But this showed that this offense is clicking. When they're moving, I think they're going to have more weapons than defenses can deal with. Whether it's Andre Yosivas, whether it's Trenton Irwin at that third wide receiver position, whether it's Jermaine Burton. Huh, did you see Jermaine Burton? I don't think anybody can run with him. The guy nearly had 2 touchdowns over 30 yards or more, but he had a 37-yarder and a 38-yarder, 2 catches in the fourth quarter for over 30 yards. I think he's going to be a rookie sensation. All we got to do is break him in slowly. So I don't expect him to be the starter. Trenton Irwin, Andre Yosivas, I'd love to see those guys, the veteran players, be able to compete for that. Andre Yosivas looks like Joe Burrow's taking a liking to the kid from Princeton. He's reliable. 23-yarder on third down coming across the middle, and then he's taking it down the right sideline. The ability to go across the middle. He's consistent. You know what you're going to get from Yosh. And I just think he's a name that we got to get used to calling. I think we've all saw at the end of the season the way that he played in the season finale, and he's picked up right where he left off. But the defense, I'm a little bit concerned. Here's what we got against this defense. They allowed 5 passes of 15 yards or more. Do you know last year they had over 105 plays of 15 yards or more? 105. That was third most in the NFL. They ranked 30th in the NFL when it comes to allowing plays of over 15 yards or more. They picked up where they left off. They allowed 5 against Tampa. So we've got to be better. We got to be better in the run game. We have to be better on the back end in the secondary. I think you're going to see a lot of young guys still getting to play a lot, particularly on the interior portion of our defensive line. Looks like our depth is going to be tested now that we've had some injuries there. So Cincinnati Bengals defense, we've got to really continue to fight and work to play hard and play better for Lou Anarumo. We've got this great defensive coordinator who's going to dial up some good stuff, but we've got to be able to stay healthy and make sure that the young players that we're putting in there, that they're going to have to be able to, I think, play at a tremendously high level if we're going to reach maybe some of the heights that we saw in 2021 and again in 2022, don't want to go back to what we saw last year. Going to have to play a whole lot better than that. 27% pressure percentage. Got to do a little bit better. We didn't get any pressure on the opposing quarterback in the first half. Did better in the second half, though. So we've got some young guys who are proving that they can get to the quarterback, but we got to do a much better job of generating pressure. You should be well over 40% on your pressure rate when it comes to getting after the quarterback, because that's just hitting, hustle, and hurrying to the quarterback. Only 6 missed tackles. I'd like to see better, but there were a lot of teams in the first week of the preseason that missed a lot more tackles than the Cincinnati Bengals, who only missed 6 tackles on 43 plays by the opponent. So Cincinnati Bengals defense at least doing a really good job of getting guys on the ground. And Josh Newton, I see you, baby. This is a guy that he's going to battle. I love when young guys are out there battling. Yeah, you might give up a play, but ain't no quitting this guy. He comes right back and makes an interception when they challenge him and go at him. He was able to take the ball away and get us a turnover. So I thought that was phenomenal. Really good stuff on the offense, good stuff on the defense. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Believe in Bengal podcast. Yours truly, Solomon Wicots, and we're joined by CincinnatiBengals.com senior writer Geoff Hobson joining us on the show. Geoff, how you doing today, my friend?
Solly, it's a pleasure. And of course, you called it. You said, maybe I better talk to you Tuesday instead of Monday. And you were exactly right, because some big news dropped.
Yeah, and we should go ahead and start there. We'll get to the week 1 preseason game in a moment. But breaking news, Amarius Mims dealing with a pec injury. He's going to miss the rest of the preseason. He may even miss the opening game. We don't know when he'll be there. I know Zach was kind of elusive as to how long he's going to be out. What's your sense of how bad this injury really is?
You know, he doesn't have to have surgery. Obviously, he'll be back at some point. But, would it be the opener? Would it be the bye week? Would it be the third week? I think we're all kind of grappling. It looks to me like he's, maybe the opener is still in play. Maybe it's not. But, they've got a big to be able to turn to a guy like Trent Brown, who has done it down through the years. I think way back when they drafted Mims, they signed Trent Brown a month before. And I think the thinking was, well, if we get this guy or if we get a rookie tackle, we can ease him in.
Yeah.
They didn't realize, I think that was the plan at the first. So maybe they just go back to plan A.
Yeah, plan A is Orlando Brown at the left tackle and Trent Brown at the right tackle. What's the next plan? Should Trent Brown, who trying to get himself ready and in shape and ready to go, if Trent can't go, who's next in the rotation? Because Jackson Carman didn't look so well. He looks like he's still learning on the job a little bit.
I think it's going to be Cody Ford. It's a guy who a 5-year veteran. He re-signed last year. He's a 6-year veteran, actually. Re-signed him. Guy that Frank Pollock, the offensive line coach, is very comfortable with because he can go inside and out. I believe in 2019, when he was a rookie, the Bengals tried to trade up and get him in the second round. Couldn't do it. And I think his rookie year in Buffalo, he did play right tackle.
Yes, he did.
I believe. And he hasn't played since. But I think he's the kind of guy that could, get you through a game, right? So, if Trent can't go and Amarius can't go, I got to believe that Ford would be the option. And, Solly, this made me think about my favorite Bengals team of all time is 15 years ago, 2009. A first-round right tackle named Andre Smith got hurt with right in training camp and couldn't go. And they filled with a couple of veterans named a young veteran, Anthony Collins, another young veteran, Dennis Rowland. They kept it together until Andre could get back late in the year. They ended up sweeping the division. So it's there's always there's always an option.
Yeah, there's always those options. I want to get to the action that we saw over the weekend. Cincinnati Bengals kicked off the preseason by playing host to the the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm getting tongue twisted here, just trying to get it out that Joe Burrow actually showed up in a preseason game. I thought it was very important for him to play. The Bengals have gotten off to an 0-2 start over the last 2 years. He looked great. Went right down the field, threw a touchdown pass. What did you see? What was Zach Taylor saying after the game about the way that Joe Burrow really showed everyone that he's back?
Yeah, I don't think he was looking to split the atom with Burrow, get him
Yeah,
in, get him out, and I don't think they're showing anything that they're going to show the Patriots on
yeah.
September 8th, but
Mhm.
he's comfortable. And you're exactly right, Solly. My personal opinion, why they went 0-2 the last 2 years is Burrow did not have this camp.
That's
I
right.
mean, if he's in this camp, they don't go to, they don't go 0-2.
Hmm.
He was not healthy. In 2022, he was still weak from the appendectomy.
Yes.
In 23, we know the calf did not get better until mid-October when he became, probably the top quarterback in the league for that month stretch before he get hurt. So the fact he's never been here now. He's never played in a preseason, knock on wood, he's never played in a preseason opener. He's never worked this far into a training camp. And he looks good. I mean, I thought he looked on Monday, after the game, I thought he looked even better. I mean, he's in a groove.
Yeah, yeah. 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
We all know that the anatomy of young men, you don't really fully mature until you're 25. So I think he's just entering his prime, particularly the fact that he's now entering his fifth season. He's seen a lot of NFL defenses. So he's really clicking in a way that maybe we haven't seen. And I think we're going to get the best that Joe Burrow has to offer. Talk about a couple of other rookies that kind of stood out. We got to talk about Jermaine Burton because we all know what he's capable of. He didn't waste any time showing it, did he?
No, he went right to his two things, man: speed and great hands. And with Burton, it's been he's trying to learn the offense. He's behind. He's a
Yeah.
rookie. He's a
Yeah.
rookie, so he's not where these other guys are. And Zach said this last week that they've gone supersonic. They have not waited around for the rookies. They got to get off to a fast start. So they're not waiting around for these guys, to teach the rookies the offense. They're going to have to sink or swim. So I think Burton reminds me a little bit of Tyler Boyd a little bit. I don't think he's going to marinate like Tyler did on the inactive list, but for his first 2 years. But I think he's going to take a little bit of time to get it. But I think I think he'll probably break out sooner than Tyler will. But I think these rookies, it's a with this kind of an offense,
Yeah.
it'll take time. I don't think he's going to pop out and could he do this on opening day? I don't know. I think probably, give him a couple weeks,
Yeah.
give him a month or two to get ready. But I think he showed what he's all about, which was those violent hands, as they like to call them.
Yeah. Well, Trenton Irwin continues to impress. Andre Yosivas,
Yeah.
it looks like Joe Burrow's becoming more and more comfortable with him. Who do you see sort of operating as that number 3 wide receiver, say when we line up week 1
Yeah.
against the Patriots?
Well, Yoshi took all those snaps yesterday,
Yeah.
and he was in the slot, and he was saying that when Jamar comes back, that's where he's going to be. It's going to be Jamar and T on the outside, and it looks like Yoshi's going to get a lot of those slot snaps. I still think it's going to be a little bit by committee because they're going to line up Gesicki in there, they're going to line up Tanner Hudson in there, and I think they'll work in Trenton Irwin. They like his reliability, but to me, it looks like it's Yoshi's job to take it and run with.
Well, he certainly looks the part. I got to talk to you about another rookie here. Josh Newton stood out, had an interception. He's working at the second slot corner behind Mike Hilton. A very important role. We need depth at that position.
Yeah.
Mike is the best, but it's great to have the young guy kind of come through early, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a really resilient kid. I mean, I think what they like is he got beat on like a 20-yarder, and then
Mhm.
he came back and he took a shot in the goal line, and he lost his breath. He had to get let off, and then he came back in the slot, made a nice leaping interception. Really hard-nosed guy. They love him. That's got a lot of leadership skills that he showed at Texas Christian. got a good football story, came from his hometown of Louisiana Monroe. So, I mean, I think he and I think the Anthony kid at safety, I think have really they've kind of changed the terrain of the secondary a little bit.
Yeah, getting some action, and you look, Lou's going to give you a shot if you show that
Yeah.
you can grasp the playbook and you start to show up around the ball, start to make some plays. He won't be afraid to put you in there. What can we expect this week? They're going to work out against the Chicago Bears. What can we expect in terms of player participation? Will this week kind of count for, say, like a Joe Burrow, where they might not having play in the game, but get him a lot of work in what we call a inner sort of a practice game against an opponent when you're working against a team like the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Solly. What Zach said was, the ones will practice, and the twos and threes and fours are going to play in the game. Now, what happens in the finale? Remember, they got a short week. They come back. They play Indy next Thursday. Oh no, they play Indy next. They have next Saturday. They have a practice. They have another joint practice with the Colts. So Zach is still leaving it open. He might play the regulars in the final preseason game. Hard for me to see. They might just go with the joint practices for the ones. They'll definitely do that with the Bears. My guess is they'll do that for the Colts too, and just not. They won't play any more games. The ones.
What was maybe the talk after the game? What are the coaches saying about the defense that gave up 5 pass plays of 15 yards or more? I think they gave up 130 plus rushing yards in the game. Clearly, you like to see them be a little more stout, but it was the first preseason game. What was your takeaway? What was Lou Anarumo's feel for the defense? Because I know a lot of people are asking. They want to see the defense be a little more ironclad.
Yeah, I think, you saw the ones. The ones were ironclad, right?
Yeah.
3 and out. I think what the defense is hanging their hat on in this training camp is the return of Von Bell and that communication. You're talking about the big plays. Obviously, when the twos and threes were in there. I mean, you know how the second half of a preseason game is, right? I think Zach calls it the Wild Wild West. You never know what you're going to get, but I think probably what to look at. I think the communication with the ones is been as good as it's been because Vaughn's back and Geno Stone knows what he's doing back there, the free agent pickup from the Ravens. But I think the big question for the defense coming in now is going to be that defensive front. It's thinged up. They've lost Cam Sample for the year. Their rookie, big rookie defensive tackle, they drafted McKinley Jackson. He's on a week-to-week basis with an injury. So they've been dinged up in there. So I think, Chris Jenkins, the rookie, the second rounder, who they really like, going to have to come on. Guys like Zach Carter. I mean, they've got a lot to do there to, and remember, they didn't start any of the, none of the starting defensive linemen played.
That's right.
So how are they going to work them in? At some point, they're going to have to work them in, I think, in the week game. But to me, that's going to be the focus going on. They've done what they had to do in the back end to prevent the big plays. But training camp, they're dinged up front. How are they going to get that depth, with Jenkins? When will Jackson come back? They love this guy, Solly. This guy, talk about rookies. Cedric Johnson, the 6th rounder from Ole Miss. They really like what they've seen from him.
Yeah, he's making some plays late in the game. He came in against Tampa Bay, and man, they just kept calling his name. He just kept showing up around the ball. So you expect to see him maybe more against the Chicago Bears. And then we'll see. You're right. We got to be able to watch these games and see the young guys begin to improve,
right?
Where they could become more reliable moving forward. Look, we're seeing a lot of Jamar Chase usually on the side catching balls. Any sense that the contract will get done for Jamar Chase before the start of week 1? There's no doubt in my mind that no matter what happens, he's going to play week 1. He is under contract going into his 4th season. Just your sense of things, or is it no way we see him in the preseason and it won't be till week 1?
Solly, I've been here a long time. You were my go-to guy in 1990. So we both go back a little way with this club.
Yeah.
And I think we know that if there's one thing we know, they're going to sign a guy. They're going to sign a guy like that. They're going to get that done. I don't know what the timeline is, but that will get done. And, you know, I've been in doctor's offices. I've been in dentist offices. I've been on the road. It's when it's as the season gets closer. You know, last year it was the day before the game, and the
That's
day
right.
before they signed Joe Burrow. AJ Green got on signed his contract and got on a plane to Oakland for the opener in 2015. So, you know, they do it. They have a history of getting it done. You know, the timeline is usually, we're getting about now into that season, but I don't know. You know, Jamal's in a totally really. This is really kind of a different deal than in the past because he's really. But I don't know. I think they're like I say, history says they get something done, and I know Jamar is. He's ready to go. You know.
Yeah. Trey Hendrickson, you expect maybe a new deal for him, or is it just going to be maybe status quo? You know, he's going to report for duty.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good in practice yesterday.
Yeah.
He
Mm-hmm.
was he followed up a screen pass. That's the first time he's been back in practice. I think he got dinged up. He got dinged up early in camp, and they're bringing around him. They're bringing him and Hubbard around. Pretty, I think they're trying to manage him. They're trying to manage Hubbard. They're trying to manage Hendrickson. They want to make sure, because they were both of them got beat up at the end of last year. I mean, that was a tough road. So I think that's more management than anything.
Yeah. Always good to have good load management, particularly for the blue collar guys that work so hard up front. Now we just need to get the interior portion of the defense going, and clearly the secondary is coming along. Just your thoughts on as we get ready to take on the Chicago Bears, week 2 in the preseason. Butch, what are the coaches looking for? What are some of the things you are looking for?
Well, I think that second group, the Browning group, didn't come up with any points. They'd like to see more production there. Obviously, I think they want to be a little stouter against the run. Offensive line is interesting. Solly, Jackson Kirkland is a guy who's kind of emerged this camp. He's a grinder, doesn't back away from fights. Frank moved him out to left tackle yesterday for the first time in Monday's practice. Looked pretty good, So I think he's a guy that they're they're looking at. And I think Matt Lee, I think there's a real, week 2, game 2, I think there's a real competition now at backup center. Matt Lee, the rookie, the 7th rounder from Miami, played really well in the opener. I think there's a battle there with Trey Hill. That's something to look at. And I think on the defensive line, like I say, you got, guys like Travis Bell who flashed. We're talking second, third team. The punting, I think, is interesting. I thought they both punted really well in the opener, Robbins and Rico. And, that's obviously an important position. We saw that in an AFC Championship game not too long ago. So I think both lines and the punters, I think, are the kind of the highlights.
We'll be having our eyes on the punting and the offense and defensive line. Week 2 preseason against the Chicago Bears. Of course, they'll be practicing a joint practice session down at the practice field there at Paycor Stadium, where the Cincinnati Bengals will be working with the Chicago Bears. Let's hope that there's more practicing than fighting, right?
I mean, that's all. I mean, we only have to go back a couple years ago to the thing with the Rams, and the next thing you know, Aaron Donald's swinging 2 helmets or something, or
yeah, he was, yeah.
So
we don't want that. We just want good practices. That's
one is probably enough, I guess. I think one, you can't have 2 because then this bad blood just goes. But I don't understand. What I don't understand is they play the games, which are for everything. The money's on the line in the games, and you never see anything like that in a game. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, but I guess you can get away with it in practice, right?
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's all about self-control. If you can control it in a game, then you can certainly control it in the practice.
Yeah.
He is Geoff Hobson of CincinnatiBengals.com, delivering the best news, the updated information on our Cincinnati Bengals. Geoff, all the best to you. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Charlie, always a pleasure to talk to one of the great members of the SWAT team.
You are the best, my friend. We'll be back with more right here on the Believe in Bengal podcast on Bally Sports Ohio.